Tiago, thanks for being here with us. The first question I wanted to ask you in relation to this jazz guitar vocabulary course is, who do you think this course is for? Who's it designed for?
Well, I think it's for the average jazz guitar student that's feeling a bit lost vocabulary wise with all these tunes that you have to learn and you don't know what to play on all those changes, or you see a line written somewhere and you don't know where it comes from, you don't know who played it before, or why are you playing it, or what what would a guitar player how would a guitar player play this line specifically. So I think it's for guitar players who are learning this jazz vocabulary in their for their instruments.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's really cool with this is that there's a lot of standards that you want to know as a jazz guitar player, but then in the many cases, your jazz guitar heroes don't have recording examples of them playing over some of these standards. So it can be hard to find like what is that jazz guitar vocabulary over Take the A Train or over
Yeah.
Sugar. Some of these ones are less played by jazz guitarists.
Mhm.
So it's cool to have that applied to that, and that's what I'm excited about for this. So yeah, talk to me about that. How did you construct these studies? Like, how are you bringing in the vocabulary of other jazz guitarists?
So the examples that I've used, that I've studied this diverse jazz guitar players, and they all have very specific ways of phrasing notes, of phrasing lines. They have specific things that they do, and some of them already have or became famous with certain versions of standards.
Mhm.
So from their interpretations, from their lines that they play, and from lines that they play at specific tempos, I kept them in mind when and then I would just mess around with it, mess around with the vocabulary myself, and then write stuff down, like of things that I enjoyed about it, and try to make like a cohesive story in each chorus, so that it's still telling a story, but it's based on someone else's typical vocabulary things that they do.
Yeah, I really like how you did it. So we have the 10 standards for this level. And just as an example, like one chorus or one section of it might be Charlie Christian's vocabulary, and you get a lot of that. So you can really understand and build into your own playing his vocabulary. Then maybe the next chorus it has George Benson and some of his iconic blues things or double stops. So you can really see, oh, this is how Benson, this is actual Benson vocabulary applied to this section of the tune. And then you go to another guy like Jonathan Kreisberg, and also there's all these little notes that you put in there above it of like, here's the augmented thing that is iconic of Kreisberg, or here's this double stop or blues lick that's a Benson style thing, and you point out all of that. So as someone's going through it, they have the ebook there with the notes and all the notation and the video that they can check out, but they also have your little notes of like, hey, this is what's really going on here. um, you know, if if it's a little bit unclear, there's the note there to clear it up. What the
Yeah.
guitarist is thinking of, like what makes it in that style.
Yeah, and it's something that I also wish I had when I started learning the vocabulary, because then I also see you can see, because it has also tablature, so it has the
Yes.
exact place where these guys play this specific type of lines. So then you get a more clear idea of how do they get from here to there, or how do they play this specific thing. So then it's more helpful for guitar players.
Yeah, that's a big part of what I'm excited about with this is that it's specific for guitar players. This is vocab of jazz guitar masters for other jazz guitarists, people who want to learn this style. And it's not like other etudes that just take vocabulary of many different jazz players and try to put it on guitar. This is the actual vocabulary that guitarist plays that fit on guitar, like you said, in the position that the guitarist would actually play it. uh,
Yeah.
and I think it's funny because tab gets a lot of a bad rap because it's thought of as like kind of a beginner thing, like for people who don't read music. But in a lot of cases, I think it's really important, even for an advanced guitarist, to then see, no, like you have many places you could play that lick, but the tablature shows you the best place to do it if it's done correctly, which I think
Yeah,
it is in this case. With that in mind, that
yeah.
this is where to play it. So
You also have like this great quote from Emily Ramler, jazz guitar player,
Mhm.
that she said that she transcribed Pat Martino so much that at a certain point you could hear where the lines fit on the guitar from the things that she was transcribing. So it's and that's very helpful, but you would only have the sheet music. But it's really important to start imagining from. Right, if I hear that, like, where does it go?
Yeah.
Because that's something that you have to develop to put it out, to get it out of the guitar
No,
also.
absolutely. One other point I want to make just in how you constructed this course that I think is going to be really helpful for anyone who gets it is that there really is like a diversity of technique and level within even within this level one, um, where some of the beginning choruses start off more simply, more melodic. You make a lot of reference to the melody so people can really get a sense of how to play properly if they're playing through these etudes. It's not just like a barrage of notes where it's just like, oh, here's all the things possible. It like really, like you said, it really feels like a story over the solo. And then they have like things like, sometimes you have octave techniques, you have single line type of things, you have double stops. One of them, Beautiful Love, is more of a chord solo type of thing. So there's a lot of different techniques that people can get even within these 10 standards that'll really develop their playing in a bunch of different aspects. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think it will be really helpful. Again, like you said, I think it's something that I wish I had, even going through my playing, um, as a intermediate or even advanced guitarist, just to kind of refresh or get exposed to some of this vocab of people you might not have checked out. Like maybe someone hasn't checked out Emily Remler or hasn't checked out, Pasquale. There's a lot of guys in there that you can be exposed to their playing or their vocabulary style and might inspire you to go check them out. So
yeah. There's also like maybe players who do more legato stuff, for example, that maybe I wouldn't play myself so fast with more pull off, hammer on based of things. But it's good to start also hearing when guitar players play that, and the difference between when you do that and when you don't do that, and which type of players do that, which type of players don't do that. And you start to get more context out of jazz guitar music.
yeah, you can really like sort of direct your playing and what you're trying to express on the guitar in a certain style or in what you're feeling like is appropriate for the song. So yeah, thanks again for making this with that intention and for these jazz guitars. I think they're really going to get a lot out of it, and hopefully we can do all 100 jazz standards. As people purchase this, and we can get this course going. So thanks,
Yeah, man.
Tiago.
Yeah, thank you.